my parents were deeply melancholy for their home. It was so clear that they were not home. It was so clear. But because of their melancholy of place, right, they created this incredible, I mean, maybe that's what it's about, you guys. Maybe it's about the loss of safety and home that they created such a strong community. And my melancholy now is that I don't see that anywhere. I mean, I'm talking to you now from my mother's house in Carson, as I said, and partly while I'm here doing the quarantine is the people say hello to you when you walk down the damn street. You know, I was living in Silver Lake where I would have to beg my neighbors to say hello. I would say hello, and they would stare at me, and I said, sir, I said hello. Hello, sir. I'm your neighbor. Can you say hello back to me? You know, and I started to feel so incredibly unsafe in these, you know, diverse hipster neighborhoods. I feel so safe here in Carson, right on the border of Compton. I'm so happy. If I don't say hello when I go walking or go for a drive, if you don't wave to everybody as you're driving by, they're going to call my mother, or they're going to tell my sister, your sister's so rude, right? Just the beauty of Black manners, the high style, the high politics of Black manners, right? That's what I'm melancholy for. For I was raised right, okay? I was raised so right. And I was raised so right by some extraordinary people, the same way Janice is talking about her teachers and the Black women in her apartment building. Like, I was raised so well. And to now, you know, be spoken to like I'm a piece of shit by just anybody. You know, I clutch my pearls when I get cover letters that say, hey, yo, what's up? I'm like, delete, delete. No, I'm not answering this letter. I'm not. I'm going to keep the bar this high because Black people have extraordinary manners, right? And that, you know, Hilton Alls had a great conversation with Toni Morrison about this. And I think it was a quote by Flannery O'Connor. I'm pretty sure it's Flannery O'Connor, who talks about Black men in the South, that manners was their boundary, right? That if they were well-mannered, nobody could infringe upon their dignity and their selfhood. And I think I feel that way about the Black culture that I grew up in. It's like I have to keep the bar really high, I have to toe the line. And my melancholy is about that, you know, we don't dress up anymore to take an airplane. Right? Remember back in the day, am I dating myself right now? Am I dating myself, right? Or, you know, we used to the people used to style. I mean, and partly it was that they were, you know, day laborers, janitors, whatever, some fucked up job nobody wanted when they got here, right? That they didn't have in Louisiana, and they would come home from these jobs and everybody would change. It was amazing. It's kind of like, I've heard of this phenomenon in Latino countries where in the evening people walk around the plaza, right? It was kind of like that on Central Avenue in the evenings in the 60s. People would change their clothes and then walk down the streets. And they were dressed to the nines. And it was exquisite. It was exquisite. And so what I'm melancholy for is that high Black style that was so normal. It was so normal, you know, that and that Black style also showed itself in the way we spoke with each other. And then when we weren't being high mannered and we were playing dominoes or tonk or, you know, whatever childhood games, then that down low language was as exquisite. And that's the stuff I'm melancholy. I think I'm just melancholy for Blackness, a particular kind of Blackness that I don't see as prominent anymore. And I resent so much. I can't tell you, this is where I'm like, ooh, you're becoming an old lady with a cane and a bun. Because I resent so much. I just get crazy that people expect me to respond to things that, for me, the way I grew up, is a complete and total insult. I can't stand it. So, you know, I think I'm melancholy for a particular form of blackness that is high, high art.
I absolutely love that. It's interesting. Both of you, Ahmad and Robin, have said that your melancholy is about missing something. I'm really interested to see what Janice says, what your answer is.
Go off of that, really. I know when we talked about this melancholy, I was like, what's that meaning of melancholy? And I think what connected it for me, in addition to what Ahmad and Robin just said, was I read this article by Rachel Katsi, and it was about it was in the LA Review of Books, and so she was pretty much reviewing Kendrick Lamar's album as a text, and so she connects his album, his text, to the blues narrative, and so she talks about how his work is a blues narrative. And so, in terms of melancholy, I think that made sense to me. Like, I didn't grow up listening to the blues. Like, my mom, she played, salsa, merengue, calypso, soca. I was like a lot of Caribbean music, but I knew folks who grew up with the blues music. And my sense of it was, there's this feeling of I'm trying to do something, I'm trying to move forward or get ahead, but something keeps holding me back. Um, and I kind of feel that in terms of like Compton. I mean, just in terms of like the history that we've kind of like referred to in terms of it was this place of blackness. You had black political leaders. You had all these folks that and this is around the time of the '60s, and then once you get to the late '60s, and then you get rise of the black nationalist black power movement, and it's like, oh, there's this black city where black people are running things. I think that's a problem. And so, there are the stories and the documents that show that Compton was one of the places that was targeted, by the state, by the government. And it was like, and that's it. Like, you have this place that has all this promise and possibility, but there's something keeping us back. I think for me, that's a part of like the melancholy.